Hello, I'm Mr. Furlow. This semester I teach biology and chemistry. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video and to learn a little bit about the class. Truly appreciate all the support that you give your students, that you give CIS, and that you give me as one of their teachers. So far this semester, we have covered macromolecules like proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and of course, nucleic acids. We've also covered cells, cell parts, cell reproduction, and we've also covered heredity. We have our heredity check-in this coming Monday on the 20th, so I hope students are studying this weekend. All right. In chemistry, we have studied matter, types of matter. We have studied electron configurations and the structure of atoms. We are going into chemical bonds, and then we'll be going into types of chemical reactions. And from there, we'll go into stoichiometry and kinetics. Biology is a state-tested subject, and chemistry is not a state-tested subject. We'll have a final exam made by me. In both cases, the final exam will count for 20% of the final semester grade. They really need to make sure they do well on the exam so that it doesn't accidentally drag them below where they want to be. Both biology and chemistry are required. Biology is specifically required by the state of North Carolina to graduate from a public school in North Carolina. Chemistry is not specifically required. The state says that you have to have a third physical science. Chemistry, physical science, and physics would meet that standard. College prep students tend to take chemistry, and that's what my class is full of, and I love it. Overall, students are doing well on classwork and when they can use their notes, their textbook. I'm seeing more struggle with tests. Part of that is I'm not sure how the studying is going. I tell them they need to study nightly. They need to study vocabulary. They need to understand concepts. The types of questions they have on test come from the SchoolNet test bank. Now, this is provided by the state to schools, and it uses the same format of questions and the same rigor of questions that we see on state tests. Now, this also is reflected by what students are going to see on things like the pre-ACT for 10th graders and the ACT for 11th graders. So all of my students need to do well with these questions. They need to practice these questions and these types of questions. And we do that quite often. Tests, quizzes, I try to aim them all towards this type of rigorous question where they have to apply concepts rather than just memorize and repeat answers. Those days are behind us. The new science standards and the new EOCs require students to be able to apply concepts. And so we have to practice that. It is a skill that we have to practice. Students need to also practice this at home when they're studying. Read over your notes, read over the work, cover up the answers for work that we've gone over, and quiz yourself. Can you answer those questions on your own at home? If so, that's a good sign that you understand it. Can you take a concept we've gone over and explain that to a sibling or parent or even to yourself? If you can, great. If you can't, then that means you need to write down the questions that are confusing you as you try to explain it, and you need to ask those in class, all right? If they don't want to ask in class, because students these days don't ask questions like they used to, so email me. Send me an email. There's also a function in Infinite Campus where you can raise a virtual hand and ask a question. No one else will see the email. No one else will see that raised hand. Only I will. And either I will go over it with you specifically, or I'll go over it with the class, but I'm never going to call someone out and say, hey, Billy didn't understand what we did yesterday, so we're going to go over it again. I'm just going to go over it again. All right? Y'all know me. I'm crazy. You never know what Furlow's going to do. All right? But I do promise you this. Whatever I do in class is aimed at helping you, the students, learn what you need to be learning in my class. Now, one problem I do see is some students, when they have work, they like to go and just go to ChatGPT. And ChatGPT can often give them the correct answer. The problem with Googling or using AI is you're not learning. The goal of the assignments is to have you look at the information in the textbook and then use that information, okay? And by using it to solve the question or the problem, then you are learning, right? If ChatGPT or Google is doing that thinking for you, then you're not learning, okay? So I strongly discourage the use of AI or Googling answers when we have work to do. All right. For communication and support, I do maintain a website with lots of helpful information. You can find the QR code here, and you can just scan that. You might have a screenshot and scan it, but I'll also put the link in the description. All right. You can always email me if you have questions. So I'll put a QR code for the email here, and of course, you can get that from my website as well. Students do have an online CK12 textbook. Their notebooks, which should have all of their work in it and notes. And of course, I make plenty of YouTube videos. Some YouTube videos are me going over concepts from where I've taught. Some are reteach for biology, or in some cases, I do use AI to generate a review video. It's just quicker, but what I do is I take the standards and I put those standards into Notebook LM, and it generates the video for me based on the standards and the unpacking from the state. I also always listen to them or watch them all the way through and make sure that they are accurate and factual. All right, Infinite Campus is where we have grades and we send messages a lot of times through Infinite Campus to parents. So please, parents, make sure that your contact information is correct in Infinite Campus. If you are not receiving any communication from the school, then likely your information is not up to date. So please contact the front office and see about getting that updated. If you do not have a parent login for Infinite Campus, please check with the office and get that login. In the meantime, you can have your student pull up their account because they can all check their grades, should have a login, and then they can go in and they can pull up their grades and show you. Some important dates to keep in mind: the biology check-ins, there's 3 more this semester. One is on October 20th, so that's Monday. One is November 1st, and the other is December 1st. Also, we were told yesterday that the pre-ACT will be on the 23rd of October, so that's this coming Thursday. Let's see here. Also, in terms of important dates, the end of first semester is December 19th. Now, by law, EOCs, state tests, have to be in the last 5 days of a semester, right? Because that's the end of the course. Now, what that means is that week of December 19th, the week right before winter break, is going to be the state test. The week before that, of the 8th, December 8th through December 12th, will be teacher-made exams. I don't know exactly which ones on which day, but that's the way it's going to play out. Which means December 1st, we will have our last check-in. We will have the remainder of that week to review. Now, if students are present after their teacher-made exams and willing, I will be more than glad to spend the afternoon, the week of teacher-made exams, going over, reviewing, tutoring, whatever we can do, okay? But that week of the 1st through the 5th, that's going to be the last week of instruction, per se, that I will be able to do for biology. To keep pace, we need to keep studying. Everybody needs to be studying nightly. I cannot stress that enough. Thank you again for trusting me with your scholar's education. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Check my website. I have a newsletter that I update each week on there. I'm here to support you and your student. And I'm confident we'll have a successful second half of the semester. Keep studying, keep communicating, and we'll be great. Thank you. I hope the rest of your day is wonderful.